Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the SVT Sports Podcast. I am here with Sam and Tyler. How's it going, fellas?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, Vince?
Hey, and we also have Tim on the ones and twos. I like that phrase. I'm keeping it. It's staying in. How's it going, Tim?
Waka, 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 waka. Doing good. It's getting hot in here.
That's very. If you
heat
hear
wave episode,
it's yeah. We're recording this on Labor Day, and it is hot as balls in the Bay Area. So if you hear a fan in the background, shut the hell up. You didn't hear anything. Let us be. Okay. Sound good?
Sounds good.
I'll be honest with you. When we're done with this podcast, I'm going back to my cousin's house because they have a pool, and I'm probably gonna go jump right back into it.
Out of bed.
Do it.
That's awesome. Sounds great. You know what? We got some hot stuff to jump into. Speaking of right now, and that is the NFL season is starting. So here we are. It's been a lot of talking about all kinds of preseason games and which players are on which teams. And the time has come. We're here. The NFL season is starting, and it is time for our little preview. And the first thing I wanted to do is just hit some of these notes. Tyler, your boys made a little bit of a trade. What happened?
We I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it is what it is, but the Eagles traded Rager to the Vikings for conditional picks and things of that nature and swap picks. But the only thing that stings about that the most is that the Eagles passed up on Justin Jefferson to trade Rager, and now the Vikings have Justin Jefferson and Rager.
Right, yeah. Jalen Reagor just has not really lived up to expectations since coming into the league a couple years ago. So it feels like they've raised the white flag. They officially gave up on him, I guess. So send him to the Vikings, maybe, get something for him. So
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, now that Brown's there, and Devontae Smith is there, clearly Devontae Smith has made himself the number one wide receiver. We'll see what this year has to bring. But between Rager and Devontae Smith, Devontae was clearly the number one wide receiver. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Rager was due for a contract this year. Why be stuck on the hook? See what you can get for him, and try not to screw up the draft like you did last time.
Right. That's a running theme in Philly. You have draft problems. Who's in charge?
Draft problems and another breakout news that's somewhat Philly related. Jason Peters agreed to sign a contract with the Dallas Cowboys, and he's now going to be on the enemies team. So that should be fun.
Future Hall of Famer, and he's not he just freely signed with the enemy. Sucks to be you.
I mean, it's okay. Jason Peters, probably one of the best, but cannot afford that contract. And if Dallas can afford it, go for it. And I ain't mad at it. Go get your money. Just sucks you're going to be in that color, but that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like it when any players go to Dallas. As I've said before, I've hated the Dallas Cowboys since 1971. And then for those doing the math, that's 15 years before I was born.
I was about to say, I'm like, how old are you? Really? Really, how old are you?
I was like, just steaming mad at the Cowboys 15 years before I was born, just hating those fuckers. So yeah,
just swimming around in hate.
Hate. Just like the dark Brandon memes, but it's dark Vinny, like just seeing red glowing eyes whenever I think about the stupid Cowboys.
And your parents were like, there's a disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
Got to get this one out.
Right. Yeah. Sam, you guys, your Raiders, they released Leatherwood and the Bears picked him up on his contract. What do you say about that? What's going on there?
McDaniels is cleaning house, dude. He's getting rid of these guys that, probably shouldn't have been drafted so high. I mean, the Raiders have since 2019, 2020 have some of the worst draft picks in the first round, especially under the Mayock and Gruden era. I mean, the 2020 draft is just completely gone. So he looked inconsistent his rookie year.
He never used his hands, man.
He's awful. They tried to put him inside. He couldn't handle it inside. And I think even though it's a different coaching staff, it's a different general, operate. The whole thing is different. You still wouldn't want to give up on a young guy that you just took the year before, even with a new regime. I just think he didn't make the cut. Like they didn't see it in him. Maybe his career pans out. Maybe he does better with Chicago. You hate to see guys like just go away in the league. When you see somebody get drafted, you want everybody to do well. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But they, they're not losing much. He wasn't a very good player at this point. But I am high on the Raiders. I am high on what McDaniels is doing.
That's good to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying that because there was some other news earlier this week that's going to affect the Raiders, and that's the Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson agreed to a 5-year extension, 245
Why?
mil a piece. So
Why?
basically 49 mil a year.
For a
165
guy
mil
who hasn't
guaranteed.
played one snap for your team yet. You don't even, I mean, I know Russell Wilson, but come on, man. We're at the tail end.
Well, I mean, it's an arms race. I mean, Denver they've tried to draft quarterbacks like a lot, and every single time they fuck it up. So at this point, like, I mean, they're going big game hunting, and they did it before with Peyton Manning, and they're doing it now with Russ Wilson. That nerd is getting paid, so good for him, I guess. And good for me that he's out of the division. So I don't have to deal with his ass except this year because the AFC West and the NFC West are playing each other. So, that'll be fun.
What else we got on here? What's this?
Okay. So one little mini game I wanted to bring up is there's a statistic where since 1990, every season there's been 4 teams that have made the playoffs that were not playoff teams the year before. And so I'm looking at last year's playoff teams and I'm wondering who who's going to make the playoffs that didn't last year, I guess. And so I've got 4 teams that I'm looking at making the playoffs this year that didn't last year. First off, I'm saying the Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson, that puts them over the top. That gets them in the playoffs. I think Indianapolis Colts, they should have been in the playoffs, but couldn't handle business against the Jaguars. They improved their quarterback, and I think they get in. And the Los Angeles Chargers, I think, are the 3rd team from the AFC that get in that weren't in last year. And so that obviously means like some teams that made the playoffs are not going to make it. So I actually have the Steelers, Patriots, and the Raiders all not making the playoffs this year. As for the NFC side, I think the Arizona Cardinals fall out and the Minnesota Vikings are in. So those are my 4 teams. Colts, Broncos, Chargers, and Vikings are your new playoff teams this year. What do you guys think?
It's hard for me to bet against the Raiders in Arizona, especially how Hopkins is going to come back in week 7, and
they could be buried already at that point, though. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. I don't think I don't think Arizona's quite as good. I think they played over their heads a little bit last year, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Pittsburgh is not making the playoffs this year. I'm going to go out and stick my neck out and say Pittsburgh will not make it.
Yeah.
Ooh. This is a tough one, man. What are my options on the AFC again? That didn't make it.
Well, okay. Well, I think it's easier to say who did. So the because there's 7 of them versus the other 9, I guess. I guess it's not that bad. So the Buffalo Bills, Bengals, Titans, and Chiefs, and the Steelers, Patriots, and Raiders were your playoff teams last year. So you're looking at the Dolphins could be one. I didn't put them in, but that's one that could be in, the Baltimore Ravens, the Jets. I'm sorry. I tried to say it without laughing. I couldn't.
In my opinion, I think New England, Pittsburgh are out, and the new bloods coming in for this year I'm gonna go on a limb and say Miami, and then I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I think Denver.
Okay. I mean, Denver makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are picking that. So
I'm
you,
going to let him say that. Yeah,
all right.
I'm gonna say Miami and Denver.
Okay. And what about the NFC side? Who's in, who's out?
Dallas is out.
Okay.
I think Dallas is out, and I think the Chargers are in.
Well, Chargers are AFC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Not the Chargers. No. That can't be right because the Rams made it in last year.
The Rams were the Super Bowl champs last year. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I can't pick anyone on the NFC East outside of Philadelphia.
Right.
And they were in last year. Let's go. Was the Saint? Not the Saints. Yeah,
The Saints did not make the playoffs last year.
yeah. I'm gonna go Dallas out, Saints in.
Okay.
You know what? People are gonna hate me on this one, but I don't care. I'm gonna say Tampa out and oh man.
Well, Tampa out. That means you have the Saints then winning the division.
Did you have them winning division?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Tick tock, tick tock.
This is tough, man. This is tough.
It's an interesting question, but it happens every year since 1990 without fail. So this is something that you can bank on. It's gonna happen.
I'm gonna go Vikings in. Vikings in.
Vikings are in, and who's out in their place?
Out in their place is going to be Tampa Bay is out, Dallas is out, Vikings in, Saints in.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Sam, how about you? What do you think?
All right. Just reset. Who did you have in?
So I had the Colts, Broncos, Chargers, and Vikings.
You had Colts,
in.
Broncos,
Chargers. I have it skewed. I don't have 2 and 2. I have 3 AFC teams changing and 1 NFC team changing.
I'm sorry, what was the last team?
Vikings.
Oh, Vikings. And then Tyler, who did you have?
I had on the NFC, I had the Vikings and the Saints in. And on the AFC, I said Miami and Denver in.
Miami and Denver. Well, I think the Colts are in and the Chargers are in. I don't think the Broncos are going to make it. I think the Vikings are going to be in. And I'm interested in the Saints. I'll take the Saints.
All right. So just to stir the pot, who's out for you then, Sam? If the Colts and the Chargers are in, who's out?
I think Kansas City something's gonna happen in Kansas City. I'm worried about that whole organization right now, honestly. They traded their best wide receiver. I think Juju Smith is a great addition. But there's some question marks there. Their offensive line is still questionable. I don't think they did much to improve their defense. I think they're still riding high on Andy Reid being a great coach and having Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to be a statistical team, but I don't think they're going to be as good as they were the past couple of years.
Okay. That's rough for me because I have Patrick Mahomes in both of my leagues.
I think he's going to ball out. I think he's going to ball out, but I don't think they did enough. I think teams are getting better at defending him. And that's not to say he's not going to be an MVP candidate or do really well. But with a longer season, injuries are going to happen. He's battled through injuries, and that's to say every team's going to have injury problems, right? But I just think the AFC West as a whole did so much to improve. So I think they're going to beat the hell out of each other. And I think the two most improved teams, I know the Broncos added Russell Wilson, but I'm not really trusting a rookie head coach in Denver. And I think the Raiders, I think there's something with Josh McDaniels. I think Derek Carr, over the next, 2 seasons or so, you're going to probably see the best version of Derek Carr because he's a robot. He just wants to be. What's interesting, if you look at the stats of Derek Carr, he had his MVP run season with Jack Del Rio. Then he broke his foot.
Right at the end. Yeah.
Right at the end. And he came back the following year. And what was the biggest criticism was he wasn't getting the ball downfield. But even under the Jack Del Rio regime, Derek Carr still didn't get the ball downfield. One thing that John Gruden did get right in his coaching tenure or his second time around was he did get Derek Carr to get the ball downfield. So I think Derek Carr is maturing into a player that he knows how to win in different ways. My biggest criticism was fumbles. It's not really the interceptions, it's the fumbles. Because the interceptions are situational. If it's 3rd and long and you take a shot at the end zone, you throw a pick, that's almost like a punt. It sucks, but it's you try to thread the needle on something, you turn it over on a deep 3rd down or, something of that nature. It's a momentum shift, but it's situational. It's the fumbles that really bother the hell out of me with Derek Carr's game. And I think Josh McDaniels has matured since his time in Denver. I think he's not trying to coach the entire team. He's coaching the offense. He's kind of being a good CEO, checking in on the different departments. They got a hell of a defensive coordinator, so I think the defense is going to improve just enough. They got playmakers on defense. They're going to be able to get after these quarterbacks. I know San Diego added Khalil Mack, but the Raiders front seven is going to get after it, and they have plenty of offensive weapons. So I think they're going to be, the AFC West is just going to be the Wild West. It's top to bottom, the best division. So I just think Kansas City is going to be that team that regresses. And it may be surprising for some, it may be not surprising for others, but at some point, a lot of these teams come back to earth for a short term. And I just think there's a lot going on in Kansas City that's going to start pulling them back.
Well, thank God I drafted Kyler Murray as well in that other league that I'm in. I was going to use Kyler Murray as a trade bait and just see what I can get out of him, hoping to get a better running back or a better wide receiver, but maybe I'll just keep him. Who knows?
Who knows? So Sam, you have the Chiefs out. Who's the other team that you have out? Because you have the Colts and the Chargers making it. So that's got to offset 2 teams. So you got the Chiefs out. Who's out? Who else?
Who are the teams that made it? I don't have this in front of me. Sorry.
Okay, so last year it was the Bills, Bengals, Titans, Chiefs, Steelers, Patriots, Raiders.
Titans are out.
Titans.
Yeah.
So the Steelers make it back in again, huh?
I forgot about the Steelers. No, the Steelers are out. They stink.
I mean, you could pick a 3rd team from the AFC to make it in.
No, I'll stick with my picks.
All right, so you're saying Chiefs and Steelers are out, Colts and Chargers are in.
Yep.
Okay. And as for the NFC, so you have the Vikings and the Saints in. Who's out?
And who are the winners?
Last year's playoff teams were the Cowboys, Eagles, Packers, Bucks, Rams, Niners, and Cardinals.
I don't think the Packers make it.
Ooh, really?
I just think, man, that offensively, I think that's another franchise. The wheels are coming off the bus.
But the wheels been falling off of that franchise forever, and somehow, some way, Aaron Rodgers just wields this fucking team to the playoffs.
Also, I think this defense, the Packers defense, has improved a lot too. So I mean, that's something that could help balance some of the losses on offense, is being able to hold teams down a little bit more.
Who's in their division?
So you have the Vikings, the Lions, and the Bears.
Oh my.
Yeah. The Lions and the Bears stink.
Yeah.
So there's probably
the Lions are
4
gonna
wins.
be the best 6-win team this year. I'm calling
for
that
sure.
right now. Like that's a team like they're not gonna quit. They're just not good, you know.
For
So,
sure. All right. Okay. Maybe the Packers are in. All right. What are my other options?
All right. Cardinals, Niners, Rams, Bucks, Eagles, and Cowboys are the other 6 teams.
That cannot make it, right?
Yeah, because you're putting the Saints and the Vikings in.
Cardinals are not making it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, good thing I drafted Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Cardinals are not making it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think Arizona's the only wild card, and Hopkins being out for 7 weeks. And
Yep.
that's rough.
Yeah. So then you're looking at you got one other team to not make it for the NFC.
I think the Rams are still going to make it.
You can say the Eagles.
Yeah.
The Eagles look pretty good though.
We also picked up another safety, a really good one. I can't believe the Saints just gave him away too. That's the crazy thing too. But we shored up that back line.
Maybe they know something you don't. I don't know.
That's true.
Who else can I pick?
Cowboys, Eagles, Packers, Bucks, Rams, and Niners.
I picked the Cowboys. Yeah, I picked the Cowboys not because I'm biased. It's just that they didn't really do anything to impress me this offseason to like shore up what they had.
I think last year they blew their playoff run because of Mike McCarthy, and they're going to blow their season because of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean they don't have, or what's his name? Cooper is in Cleveland. You know, Gallup really hasn't panned out. You know, Ezekiel Elliott I think he's come down from where he was, honestly. And I think Dak Prescott he's going to be a baller, but there's nothing really around him that's going to make Dak Prescott look even better than what he was. There's nothing around him.
I just don't think Dak Prescott was ever a top tier quarterback. I think he's like a second tier quarterback. Because I don't put Derek Carr as a top tier quarterback. He's not a Aaron Rodgers. He's not. I don't think Dak Prescott's that either.
I agree.
I mean, we're talking. There's also a different conversation to be had to NFL good versus fantasy good. You know,
correct.
So I mean, and like for example, your quarterback Jalen Hurts in Philly. That's a guy that's going to be really good for fantasy. We still don't know if he's going to be good for the NFL.
Yeah, I don't peg him as a higher echelon type of quarterback, but you put him around the good talents, you can make anyone look better than what they were, you know.
Right.
But yeah, he's not going to be a GOAT player. I don't think Dak Prescott's going to be a GOAT player. But speaking of GOAT players, though, I see that we're on the hunt with Albert Pujols. My man is at 695.
Wait, hold on. I'm not done with NFL yet.
Oh,
I'm not done. We have
He's
to
got more to say.
I have more to say. We'll get to Albert Pujols. He's doing great things. I love him. Hold the phone. We need to pick we picked who's in, who's out of the playoffs. Now let's pick Super Bowl. Who you playing it, who you have in the Super Bowl.
Damn.
And who's winning the whole thing.
Already?
Yeah, I mean this is the time. Pick your, you pick who you think is gonna be your division winners and who's your, all of that stuff. This is the time to do it. You get on these, you plant your flag now, so that way we know, just like we did at the beginning of the baseball season.
Come on, man. This is for, so you can be like, yeah, I was right back then. You can point to it.
Yep. All right. So I mean,
rights.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? I'll go first. I think that my division winners are the Eagles, Packers, Bucks, and Rams. The East, for the AFC, I have the Bills, the Bengals, the Colts, and the Chiefs. And then my playoff teams are the Titans, Broncos, and Chargers. Those are my wild card teams. My wild card teams in the NFC are the Vikings, Niners, and Cowboys.
We're just picking Super Bowl winners, right?
Yeah. So I'm just telling you like where my brain is at right now. So I'm looking at my list, and I think that my Super Bowl teams are going to be the Bills and the Niners because I can't help myself. I'm gonna do it. I'm calling for the Bills and the Niners, I'm not gonna not pick the Niners. I think the Niners
Yeah.
are finally due for number 6 right now.
The NFC is such a toss-up, though.
Yep.
Like, I want to pick the 49ers. I do, but I don't know your quarterback well enough to pick that. I want to pick the Rams. Yeah, I want to pick the Rams, but I don't think they did anything. Just spent hella money on players that I feel like maybe getting overpaid, in my opinion. So I'm probably gonna say, fuck. And I already exited out Tampa. I'm gonna say Cincinnati and the Rams, with Cincinnati finally pulling it, and
So
the Iceman's gonna do it.
You're calling for the rematch, but Cincinnati winning this time.
But Cincinnati winning this time, yeah.
All right, Sam, who do you got?
I definitely have the Buffalo Bills,
Okay.
and this is going to be a shocker. The Buffalo Bills are going to win it, and they're going to beat, sorry, Vince, the 49ers.
That's okay. You can go fuck yourself, but I totally understand why you would say that.
Honestly, though, like I just want to see a Buffalo Cincinnati playoff game again, championship play. That was I want to see that.
That AFC title game was phenomenal, and inject that straight into my veins.
Yeah, I would love to watch that. I didn't want anyone to lose. I think that was a Super Bowl right there, in my opinion. I mean,
I think the 49ers get there and they lose another Super Bowl with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G again.
Why? Oh God!
I thought he was second string by now.
Oh, he is second string, but Sam's calling for him to take over starting at some point.
I'm saying he's going to take it over because of injury.
There's already reports going out saying that Trey Lance was annoyed that they re-signed. And I know that that's not coming from the horse's mouth, but the fact that those articles are being out there, that's just got to weigh on a fucking team. If you keep
How
getting
dare
those...
you call Trey Lance a horse?
Okay. So we've concluded our NFL preview. Just to recap, I have the Bills and the Niners in the Super Bowl, Niners winning. Tyler has a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, Bengals pulling it out this time over the Rams. And Sam has the Bills and the Niners, but the Bills winning. And that's our recap and friendship over. So here we
Well, I was gonna say, like, do we want to put it out to the audience, see what they think? Put it up on Twitter.
Absolutely, yeah, we will absolutely do that. The fans can tell us where we went horribly wrong, and just roast us alive. And we are always welcome to hear constructive or non-constructive feedback. If at this point, just go ahead and go all in on us. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why the Chicago Bears are actually going to make a run this year. I would love to hear that argument, or whoever,
Well, since we're talking about horses here, and Sam was talking about horses, are we free to talk about goats? Can I go back to my goat?
Let's go back to Albert Pujols, the man, the myth, the legend.
Pujols. The number 695.
Yeah, he's 5 away from 700.
It's getting close. I don't know if he's gonna do it.
I think he will. He's got like almost 4 weeks left to do it.
But he's slowed down.
He has. Let's just take a quick look. How many? The Cardinals are leading their division right now. So there's. Let me see how many games they've played so far. This is great radio, by the way. So they're 79 and 56 at the moment. That's 135 games played total. They have 27 games left. 5 home runs in 27 games. That's what he has to do.
But we also got to talk about Aaron Judge. We're going to talk about homers.
Yeah,
he's getting that record.
Yeah, he's gonna break the AL record for home runs in a season. Yep. He's what, 2 ahead of the pace of
and what's
now?
And what's the record? The AL record?
The AL record is 61 by Roger Maris back in 61. So I
don't think he gets to 73, but
that seems a little bit too much with 27-ish games left. Everybody's got about the same amount of games, about 4 weeks left in the season.
Is 73? I just don't know how to take out there. Is 73 a true number, or is there an asterisk next to that?
It has to be a
It's a
true
true
number.
number.
It's a true number to me.
You guys don't go with the steroid asterisk?
Nope.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Bring
A
them
season's
back.
a season. Because honestly, pitchers were juicing too. So everybody was
So
just
was the
talking about the
commissioner.
hitters. Yeah, everybody was talking about the hitters were juicing. Guess what? The pitchers were juicing too. Roger Clemens's last 4 Cy Youngs, those were all definitely juiced Cy Youngs. So in my opinion, it's a level playing field. So yes, the 73 stands. It's
Just so people
it's a
can
rule
know,
breaking
like,
field, but it was at least
the
even.
73 is Barry Bonds' record for those who don't know. So
Right.
just want to put that out there. Now, I agree with you guys that I think there shouldn't be an asterisk, but just kind of curious. But because my opinion, I don't care how much you're juicing, you still got to hit a 2-inch little white stream and try and hit it out the park, which I don't think anyone could do this, whether you were juicing or not. You're not hitting a ball out of the field, probably even once out of 82 games.
Yeah,
Our
like
asses.
for example, us, if we were to start juicing right now, start taking steroids,
It's gonna do jack shit.
Yeah, I mean, I might be right
we'll just
now.
get fatter.
Right now, I could probably hit the ball about 300 feet. If I started juicing, like that's what I'm saying. Like I maybe 350 if I get really juiced, and so there's a couple of home runs, but I'm not going to be able to do that consistently.
You still got to hit a 2-inch white ball.
Yep.
Coming at you at 90 plus miles an hour.
You
Never gonna happen.
You got to square up a sphere with a cylinder, and it's the single toughest thing to do in all of sports. So
yeah, that's what if you exceed 3 out of 10 times in your baseball career, you're a Hall of Famer.
that's right.
I say that all the time. That's my saying.
All right, so let's just do a quick standings check, and the A's over the last week went 2-4. They dropped. They picked up 1 game in Washington and 1 game in Baltimore. But most of these losses for the A's, I mean, you got a 5-2 loss in Baltimore, but then you also lost 8-1. You got a 5-0 win, but when they're losing, it's not impressive, like at all. Like even though the win in Washington was 10-6, so they're just they're letting a lot of runs score, so it's not pretty.
Yeah, we caught the Baltimore game, and Seth Brown went like 3 for 2 with 2 home runs, or 3 for 2. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
3 for I think he went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, but yeah, they're not good. I mean, at this point, the A's, all they have to look forward to is being spoilers. And
Yeah.
Baltimore is trying to go to the playoffs. So
yeah, now the A's have guaranteed themselves a losing season. They are they have 85 losses. To get to 500, you can only have 81 losses. So
yeah,
so they've officially clinched a losing season, and they are in the cellar of the American League. They're a game and a half back from the Tigers from being able to climb out of dead last, which at this point, I don't even want them to do it. Just get the best possible draft pick you can at this point.
What's this that the A's are gonna probably are the most, or let me rephrase. The A's are the more probable outcome of signing some international player, but like spending the most money to get him doesn't sound right.
You got to put an asterisk because we're talking $1.5 million. So it's not a lot of money for the Cuban internationals. I don't think it's been a long time since Cespedes commanded whatever the hell he commanded. It was tens of millions for Cespedes. So that's not happening for this guy. I briefly heard that, and I don't know. Even if the A's do sign him, great. I don't see how it makes much of a difference in the day-to-day operations of the team. Yeah.
So how the Giants doing?
Giants are 3-3 in their the last week. They dropped all 3 games against the Padres, against Tyler's Padres, and then they won all 3 games against the Phillies. So, very hot and cold as they've been basically for the entire season. Just checking the standings right now, the Giants are 8 games back of a wild card spot. There's 20, 25, 27 games left to go. They're done. The only team out of the playoffs right now that could sneak in is the Brewers at this point for the National League. They're 2 games back of a wild card spot. they're a little bit further back. They're 8 games back in the loss column to the Cardinals. So if they're going to get in, they're going to get in via the wild card. As for
the Dodgers are so far away that like my Padres wild card. That's it.
Yeah,
it's only getting in.
Yeah, Padres have a half game lead on the Phillies for the last wild card spot. The Braves are running away with the number 1 wild card spot. They're 10.5 up on the Padres. So the Braves are in, Cardinals are in, Mets are probably in. They hold, God, that's what 12 game lead on Phillies. So yeah, Dodgers, Mets, Cardinals, Braves, they're all in. Now it's basically the Padres, Phillies, and Brewers. 2 of those teams will be in, 1 will not. As for the American League, we got the Yankees have been scuffling a lot. They've won the last 2 games, but before that, they've just had a really shitty August. It was really bad. I think they were like 3-13 or something at one point. It was just nightmare fuel for New York Yankees fans, which their tears tasted delicious. But but basically they went, they were leading the planet. And now they're 5 games back on the Astros for the number 1 seed. Guardians are the Central Division leader. Yeah, that's
the Central is absolute hot garbage, man.
Yeah, so the Twins and the White Sox, they're still in it. They're right there. They're like a game and a half back of the Guardians.
In my opinion, White Sox, I'm firing some people. I paid how much money to have this type of team, and I am subpar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're at 500 right now, and that's unacceptable for what we expected. The Orioles are actually only 3.5 games out of a wild card spot, believe it or not. They took 2 out of 3 against the A's. They're playing well, and the Blue Jays, Rays, and Mariners are your current wild card teams. But the Mariners are leading the pack, but they only have a 1.5 game lead on the Blue Jays. The Rays have a 1 game lead on the Blue Jays. So the Orioles could make some noise. There's 3.5 back with 20 something to go.
I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Orioles. I'm rooting for the Mariners. The Mariners are not supposed to be here. I think they're a little ahead of schedule, in my opinion. The Rangers, someone's getting fired there too. That's $500 million, and you guys aren't even a 500 team.
They've dropped 8 in a row.
That's insane.
It has gotten from bad to worse in Texas. We were already burying them before, in the last couple of podcasts, but they're done.
Yeah, they're done.
People are losing their jobs over there.
I want to go back to the Giants because the Giants stink.
Okay.
They absolutely stink.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't keep up with every single heartbeat of the Giants, but this Farhan Zaidi, like I said this last week, I'm more interested in the business of what's going on over there than play on the field. I catch a couple Giants games here and there. Bay Area radio is dominated by San Francisco Giant sports talk radio, so I hear it all the time. And everything is being discussed as Farhan, Gabe Kapler. Where do they go from here? And I have my personal opinion. I want to hear you guys first. Let's start with Vince. What do you guys think about this Farhan Zaidi, Gabe Kapler, Giants? What would you do moving forward?
I didn't understand the Gabe Kapler hiring when it happened. I feel like if I was in charge, I think they get 1 more year to work it out. Like next year is like the show me year, because they performed out of their minds last year. And so that shows a baseline of them being able to coach up guys, being able to get guys to play above where we expect them to play. Like there is a little bit of leeway there. So I think I give them next year, but that seat starts to get awful toasty, just like my chair is right now in this apartment.
But that's because of a heat wave.
It's totally
not because
different.
You're going to get fired.
No, I'm not getting fired
from
my apartment.
In this podcast, buddy.
That's right.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
All
good luck finding another V to replace me. Change
Tyler,
all the handies.
Yeah, no, Dave Kapler, it was a question mark when they hired him, but I get why they did. With Bochy being out, they wanted a big name splash as a head coach, and I think Dave Kapler, when he was the general manager for, I'm not general manager, when he was the head coach for the Phillies, they went to the playoffs, all 4 years. So I think there was something to be said about how he managed his games that maybe Farhan appreciated. Maybe he's a yes man. Maybe he was a metrics man. I don't know. I don't sit on the meetings. I don't know, but that hiring made sense for Farhan's guy. It didn't make sense for a Giants guy where we're used to Bochy, who was I coach with my gut, and that just kind of wasn't what I was getting from that. But yeah, it's tough. I think this last week against the Phillies was kind of a more personal vendetta for the Giants as a whole, just because of where he came from, the Phillies and whatnot. And the Phillies are very similar to the Giants. They were supposed to have a more promising year this year. I wouldn't say necessarily spent the same amount, because obviously Phillies spent more money, but Philly's underachieving as a team. And I'd say they're kind of, as far as the level right now, those are two similar teams of that they should be a little further along than what they are. But yeah, Kapler's he's got to show it next year. He's got some young guys that didn't really pan out in their coffee of coming up to the league this year. So next year they better be ready to go. Like, there's no, well, maybe we can trade them. No. These are your guys. You do not have a farm system. The Giants do not have a farm system. Those guys that were supposed to be maybe ready 2 years ago and ready this year are not ready. So next year they better be ready to go. And if they're not, see you, Kapler. See you later. In my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I pretty much agree with the both of you. I'll just say, Vince, like, coaching up, I don't really want to give credit to Gabe Kapler for coaching up. This guy pretty much runs his team out of a laptop and runs it out of a spreadsheet. So yeah, I know baseball has gone the statistical route of everything, but the opposing club has those statistics too. So it's like, now we're getting into, like, you're going to put a guy in because he's going to hit the ball to the right side of the field 72% of the time against these types of pitches. Then they're going to counter with this type of pitcher. You know what I mean?
No,
So
that's a fair point.
It's a battle of stats. And I think this season is more of the average median of what the Giants win total would have been. I think last season was the outlier. It was the one that was not true. And so I agree with you that Gabe Kapler probably gets another year because of last year. But I'm not going to give him credit for coaching. I give him credit for the stats. And now this year, the opposition matched those stats, and he didn't make those adjustments. Somebody like
that's fair.
Bob Melvin in San Diego, he's making adjustments game to game. And at this point, wouldn't, like, even Mark Kotsay for the A's, who are terrible, you could see that they're not always playing to stats. They're not always playing to the, to that game plan. So the A's they stink, and even some of the young talent they have, I'm not really excited for. I could be wrong. I want to be fans of these guys, but some of the talent is not quite there yet. So I think Mark Kotsay, even in his first season as a manager, is already a better manager than Gabe Kapler, because that had question marks all over it. And Tyler, I think he was only with the Phillies for 2 seasons, not 4 seasons.
Oh, that's right. But he did make it to the playoffs both years with those.
No, he only made it.
I thought he made it both with Bryce.
No, they underperformed a lot. That's why he got the axe. Was because they stunk, and then now they got this the manager last year and for Philadelphia, and they were much better. With Farhan, though, just to close off on Farhan, I think Farhan gets another year as well, at least, because the whole Bochy thing was weird. He took over and Bochy stayed, and then he got the pandemic year, and then you got this Gabe Kapler situation, and then you rolled the dice and you won a bunch of games last year. So the problem with Farhan is they had this plan that we're gonna keep our keystone players, so everybody has a feel good story, And then we're going to go out and make a bunch of trades. We're going to go find all these diamonds in the rough. And nothing's really come of it. Like the magic that Farhan sold everybody or everybody bought in on, you're not really seeing that magic. You're not really finding the diamonds in the rough right now. And the guys that are the top prospects are still a year away. You keep hearing they're not ready. They're not ready. So I just don't think they're going to have young enough talent coming up at the same time to put this thing together. It seems like that's kind of the trend in baseball right now, is like you need a bunch of talent coming up at the same time. And I don't think the Giants have enough. They might get one or two guys, but it's not 3, 4, 5 guys coming up at the same time, like San Diego, Baltimore, Seattle. They don't really have these guys coming up right now. And they're constantly coming up as the runner up in the beauty pageant, in the free agency. So they're not able to get big time free agents, and they're probably going to lose some free agents. Their number one starting pitcher right now, they're probably going to lose him too. So unfortunately, I think this whole thing is Farhan and Gabe Kapler will probably have one more year, and we're moving on.
They have to. Bear cannot. I also think too, the Giants hiring all those things kind of masked some stuff that Bear had going on personally that were unfavorable in the news, but that also could be another thing too.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to the NBA. We had one blockbuster trade that happened during this past week. The Jazz giving away Donovan Mitchell. What's going on here? What's going on, Tyler?
Donovan Mitchell. There's no shock that Utah is looking to rebuild. There was a big falling out with their big center and Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. A lot of people, if you don't know or remember, like the start of COVID, or at least like when we were in the early phases of understanding what COVID was and what we were dealing with, Rudy Gobert called it basically a hoax and proceeded to touch every single person's microphone in a post-conference interview. And then he ended up testing positive for COVID shortly afterwards. And a lot of people thought that was very young, naive, stupid, whatever you want to call it. And Donovan Mitchell was not on board. And there was ultimatums being made throughout the seasons of last year and the year before that of it's either me or him. So they've decided it's none of you. So Rudy Gobert is no longer with them. He's in the Timberwolves. He's in Minnesota. And now Donovan Mitchell has been traded to Cleveland. And in the return, they've got Colin Sexton, Lauren Markkinen. They also, Jazz get 3 unprotected draft picks. And then they also are getting 2 draft swap picks, meaning better in the favor of whoever has the better option here. So
whoever finishes better, they'll be the team that has the worst.
Yeah. So
whoever has the better draft pick goes to the Utah Jazz. So they'll switch.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, I mean, I kind of wish I got to see more of the Utah phenomenon. I think it was fun. I like Spider Mitchell. I think he's a great player. I think he's a phenomenal player. All things got to come to an end, man. Just like the Giants, man. You got your years to prove it. You didn't do anything with it. It's really hard to play in the West. I mean, the Warriors are not a foregone conclusion that they're going to run the tables back, but I don't know. I'm curious to you guys. I threw it out in the doc there. I know there's so much talk about James Wiseman and, the talent that he could be, the talent that he's not, whatever. Right. But in your eyes, this season is the season that he's supposed to get it together, or at least be able to play more than 20 games, right? What does James Wiseman have to do in your eyes to validate picking him number 2 overall, as opposed to going with, the Ball brother that's in Charlotte right now?
I want to answer that, but I wanted to get a thought in about this trade real quick. I think it's a great trade for Cleveland. I think when you're tearing it down, it's a decent trade for the Utah Jazz. But the biggest loser is the New York Knicks. That's the biggest fucking loser in this thing. This loser franchise. I mean, the mecca of basketball. Give me a break. Like, Jesus Christ, you were right there, and you're arguing over what? Like, just pull the trigger.
Well,
The
they
Knicks blew
also
it.
had
They blew it.
they had 4 draft picks this year and didn't draft anyone.
They blew it. They're
So
terrible.
the Knicks are the Knicks.
Yep, Nick's gonna Nick.
Yeah, I mean, like,
all right,
being somebody who doesn't follow it, yeah, like the Knicks, what's going on with them?
they were right there. They were
They're-
the lead. They were the
they're-
leading team.
They're a dumpster fire franchise who can't make the right thing happen
They were the
no matter
leading
what.
team. Oh my god! the NBA
Before
needs to
Joe
step
Lacob
in.
took over, them and the Warriors, they were basically the same fucking thing. Like, just garbage franchises.
Fun fact:
Anyway,
Steve
got
Kerr
it.
was almost the head coach for
I
the
know.
Knicks.
Oh my god, he's dodged. He's like, I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, so the Knicks were in the runnings to make a trade for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell grew up in that area, like he wanted to be part of the Knicks. That was his goal. He really wanted to be there, but the Knicks couldn't get out of their own way. They didn't know what assets they wanted to trade. They were trying to give too little for nothing, and it's like the Knicks need a point guard. They have
At this point,
they
the
have
Knicks
7
need
power
to-
forwards and no point guards.
The Knicks just really need to look in the mirror, look in the reflection, and just, you're no longer the Knicks. Like, you're not that brand.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not. And you need to start over as if you're an expansion team. Because the history, the Mecca, the Garden, all of this stuff, it's not working. Like, you need to start over. So anyway, that's enough Knicks talk. But
Yeah,
your
I
James
wasn't-
Wiseman question.
Yeah, James Wiseman.
Yeah. So in your eyes, this year he's supposed to not necessarily put it together, but at least play more than a handful of games, right? That's the goal. That's the idea. He's healthy. He's healthier than he has been in quite some time. What in your eyes will consider or validate James Wiseman being picked 2nd overall for you guys, as opposed to going with somebody else? Like, what does he need to do this year to prove that to you?
This is his 3rd year, right?
He's also up for a contract after this year.
This is his 3rd year, right? Like, this would be
Mhm.
his 3rd season. At this point, I think the best trajectory for him is you're looking at something, you're comparing it to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid had some questionable first season, 2 seasons. He had some injuries. And then now, year 5, year 6, he's like an MVP candidate. I think that's what you're kind of hoping for, is like in his 3rd year, get healthy, be more consistent with those flashes, and take on that knowledge from Looney. Looney gets to his spots, he makes the right reads, he makes the right pass, he gets to the hoop. Like, he knows the Warriors offense and defense. Like, and that's what makes Looney extremely valuable to the Warriors. If by the end of the season, James Wiseman can take over the starting role because he's making the right reads, the passes, he's flashing, I would be okay. And obviously being healthy. Then by year 4, year 5, you start to see that dominant character come out, that player, I should say. But right now, to come out this season and be an MVP, that's not enough minutes.
Well, no, I mean, I don't look at it that way. The way I look at it is Ant-Man went number 1 overall to Minnesota. He's obviously a perennial rookie of the year. He's obviously a dynamic scorer. And then you look at LaMelo Ball, and he's an excellent passer, an excellent shooter. Sometimes he makes a little bit questionable decisions with the ball, but he's a great playmaker. What does Wiseman have to do to validate why we didn't go with LaMelo, or why?
Well, I think, again, you're comparing, like, that's why I said the Joel Embiid, is because you can't really compare big men's progress to a wing,
or guard,
or a guard play, because those guys are going to make flashy plays unless you're, and then having the injury, those guys were healthy.
Mhm.
What was the dude's name in Sacramento that won Rookie of the Year, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, the Warriors missed another one."
Tyreek Evans.
Yeah, and then he stunk.
Yeah.
And then after that, he stunk. So how many times we've seen rookie of the year guys or guys that made the all-star game their first or second year, and then they stunk, so I mean, the odds that Wiseman's going to develop into a Joel Embiid, it could be good, it could be rare. I don't know. He was drafted so high. We haven't really seen the skill set. I still think it's be consistent, take over the starting job by the end of the season, and if that happens, I'm okay. Like that's enough for me. If
Yeah.
he becomes a starter.
Yeah, I want to see 65, 70 games out of him this year. That's all I really want. I want him to be healthy and I want him to play effectively. And if he's in the starting lineup, I think that's good. And that means that the Warriors are well on their way to a back-to-back titles. If James Wiseman is healthy, then you're basically adding another big man because he obviously wasn't healthy last year. So that's what I'm looking for from him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like Sam said, the trajectory to being like a repeat all-star player, it's in his skill set, I believe, to do that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even been the number 2 overall pick. But at this point, we got to see it on the court first before I make any kind of declaration like that. Just get on the court, get healthy, and play effectively. That's what I want out of him. I don't give a damn about whether somebody drafted below him is playing better because big men take longer to develop. He's 21 years old right now.
And
he's
I think
21. He's so young.
Yeah, that needs to be in the conversation.
Yeah, he does not even have his man body or whatever. He's not fully developed yet. So I want to see that before I start making any declarations. The Embiid comparison about, taking him a while to, become what he became. Giannis took a little bit of time too, a little bit of seasoning before we saw the MVP and NBA champion Giannis that we have now. So I am very content to let him develop as long as he's playing 65, 70 games this year. And, I don't expect him to play 82 because that's unrealistic for anybody in the NBA to play 82.
But
Yeah, well, Kevon Looney is a special talent, as we saw.
No, in my opinion, I agree with what you guys are saying. I ultimately, I don't know what his nickname is. I think people call him Big Jim, or whatever you want to call him, right? I think for me, I want to see Kevon Looney become the second, coming off the bench. And I want to see Draymond Green getting less minutes. And I don't say that as in like Draymond Green is over the hill, which maybe he is, maybe he isn't in the sense of a health standard, but he's played how many minutes, how many playoff minutes. I want Wiseman to become that anchor defensively. Like he was almost averaging a block a game in the 22 games that he played. I want to see 2.3, somewhere around there, about 2.5 blocks a game. Right. I think that's a fair thing to ask, from him. I don't need him chucking threes. I think that's great that he could shoot it. I think that's great that he could do that. But when you're 7'6", I need you by the hoop getting points, and I need you clearing screens and getting the other guys. I need Klay Thompson to get back in the swing. I want you to be there for Steph Curry. I want you to be there for Jordan Poole. I want you to be there for Kuminga. I want you to be there for Moody. So in my opinion, a successful season to me is I want to see 60, 75 games, somewhere in that realm. I'm probably on the 60 area. I want to see blocks be improved, and I want to see Draymond and Looney getting decreased minutes because he's getting those minutes. That's what I want to see. And I think that is a good recipe for running it back to the playoffs and having a good chance to winning it again.
All right. I think that will pretty much do it for our main show. Sam has an extra point he wants to talk about. Sam, what do you got?
All right. So this late morning, early afternoon, we start our day and we discover that there's this little brown dog wandering the street. So
little Chihuahua guy, yeah.
Little Chihuahua, what appears. So we wrangle him up, There's no collar. There's no microchip. We took him to the vet. There's no microchip. And we put the ad up on Nextdoor. We reported the dog to the police department like you're supposed to do. If we keep this dog, or if nobody claims them, we're going to keep the dog as what it appears. And I think we're going to end, unless somebody really comes out and picks up this dog and says it's theirs, and we're going to need like photo evidence, because in 12 hours we've become attached. We have already started to pick some names. So as some of our listeners know, I know everybody here on the show knows, we already have a dog. He's adorable. You can follow him on Instagram. His name is Doolittle, and he's named after Oakland A's pitcher Sean Doolittle, who's no longer on the A's.
Yeah.
But that's who he was named after. So when we picked up, as we like to say, Dewey, when we were trying to find a name for Dewey, we wanted to name him an A's player because Julie and I really bonded over the A's when we first started dating, and we settled on Doolittle. It was just the perfect name. And now here we are, dog number 2. You guys want to take a wild guess on potential dog number 2's name? The only clue is a sports.
All right.
I think I know, and if it's not, it should be.
Okay. Do you have a name ready, Tyler?
I do.
All right, go ahead, say it.
Tony. For Tony Kemp, who we met in person. Not going to say the location. I'm not going to disclose that to him, but we met in person. And I think that's a valid, good name.
Okay.
Seeing as how we also like to use Tony Kemp's name from a wonderful Apple TV show as a responsionary thing. But
Okay. Yeah,
Vince,
so
what do you got?
my guess is actually not baseball. You said sports, not baseball. So I'm actually going to go basketball, and I think you're going to name him Wardell.
ooh,
All right.
That's my guess. What's the name, Sam? What's the name if you
Hold
do
on.
end up
Let me
keeping
see
this
if
dog?
Tim wants to jump in. Tim, you want to take a shot?
Well, I mean, it would most likely be somebody who was on the A's, and so maybe like Henderson,
Okay.
it's not a bad one.
Respect
Not a
it.
bad one.
I respect it.
Yeah.
All right. So you're all wrong.
I figured.
Of course.
Maybe it's a Raider, isn't it?
The closest
It's Jimmy G. It's Jimmy G.
was Tim. Henderson ended up coming in 3rd place.
Okay.
Second place was Raleigh.
Okay.
Okay.
The first place name for dog number 2 is
Butter.
Stewart. Named
Stewart.
after
Stewart.
Dave Stewart.
Yeah.
Dave Stewart.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I
there we go.
love
We
it.
call him his so the thing is when we were thinking about Raleigh, we really loved Raleigh because it's Raleigh fingers,
Mhm.
But the problem with that is that Raleigh and Dewey, that IEY, could confuse the dog, so we didn't want to get too confusing with it. So like Stewart is a very clear motorcycle.
As long as you don't shorten it to Stewie. Stewie
So I
and
was like,
Dewey.
yeah.
That's even
Stewie.
closer.
Stewie and Dewey.
We did talk about that, but the nicknames of Stewie and Dewey are just too cute. So
Mhm.
and Dave
I
Stewart was a
could've-
badass.
Yes,
could've
absolutely.
cheated.
Yeah.
Just
I
got
could've
his number
cheated.
retired.
I've now come to the realization that I was in a group chat and Julia had expressed the dog's name, and I could have looked at my phone and I forgot all about it, and I could have cheated. So just so viewers know, I'm an honest person.
Good for you.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'm not as noble.
So that's a fun little extra point that we ended on. The kick is up and it's good. So let's wrap this bad boy up. You can reach us on social media at SVT Sports Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We're on YouTube now. Look for us at SVT Sports Pod. You can also send us an email, svtsportspod@gmail.com. Please slide into our DMs. We are looking forward to interacting with you all. If you think Sam is crazy for naming his dog after Dave Stewart, which you're wrong, but if you will have beef with that, please tweet at us and come at us. We would love the interaction. And with that, I think it's time we say goodnight, fellas. Good night, fellas.
Good night, guys.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Another great one in the books.